Okay, great. Okay.
Okay, so we're live now. Hi everyone, welcome to today's panel, which is called Black Girls and STEM, Shattering Stereotypes. If you're watching from Twitter, please do use the hashtag Shattering Stereotypes to join in the conversation. I'm very excited and very honored today to be joined by so many incredible activists in STEM from around the world. These women are trailblazers in their communities, and they are really revolutionizing what it means to have a STEM identity. So now I want to invite all of the panelists to introduce themselves and talk a little bit about their work and where they are based in the world. So let's start with Renee Harris.
All right. So my name is Renee. I am the founder of Esteem Girls. Our mission is to empower girls by building their self-esteem and confidence to pursue STEM fields. So we do this by providing STEM hands-on programming as well as academic services to increase their engagement as well as their interest in STEM. So I have that. I also have STEM Prep Academy, which is a STEM-based school in Philadelphia that recently opened. For STEAM Girls, we do have national chapters, and of course, one day I hope that we can have international chapters. So if anyone's interested in starting a chapter, it is very easy. Just have to be 21 years or older. Please give us a contact. The website is www.esteemgirls.org. Thanks.
Nice. Let's hear from Mercy Muchangi from Tinker Education. Can you tell us a little bit about you and your work?
Hello, everyone. My name is Mercy Muchangi from Kenya, and I am a STEM instructor at Tinker Education. So I teach STEM to both boys and girls ages from 5 all the way till 11 years. That's my age group. That's what I focus on, and teaching STEM using coding. Yeah, so it's really fun to be with all of you, and we'll really enjoy this conversation. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I'd love to hear from Atia from Black Girls Love Math.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Atia Harmon, founder and executive director of Black Girls Love Math, which is a charitable nonprofit to eliminate the racial and inequities in math, racial and gender inequities in math. We are based in the Northeast of the United States, starting with Philadelphia. And we are a new organization, but we are excited about all the things we've started thus far.
Nice. Let's hear from Julian Koech.
Hi, everyone. My name is Julian Koech. I'm from Kenya, Nairobi, Kenya, and I'm the manager of Tinker Education. And Tinker Education is a STEM program for young kids ages to 16 years old. And we teach them STEM education through computer science coding. Mainly, we focus on, innovating creators, fostering creativity and problem-solving skills. Of course, to develop 21st century skills in problem solving and logical reasoning. Thank you.
Thanks, Julian. And last but not least, love to hear from Taylor from Black Girls Do STEM.
Hi, everybody. Can you hear me? Cool. I'm Taylor, and first of all, I just want to say I'm super elated to be joining this panel with some pretty dope women. Thank you all for doing the work and really being an inspiration. I am currently a graduate student in the Plant and Microbial Biosciences doctoral program at Washington University in St. Louis. And aside from research, I'm really passionate about STEM outreach and participating in opportunities where I can engage with young Black students interested in STEM. And on today, I'm representing on behalf of Black Girls Do STEM, which is a nonprofit organization based in St.Louis that serves middle school Black girls. And it was started by Cynthia Chappell. So shout out to Cynthia. And basically what Black Girls Do STEM is a nonprofit that seeks to try to trigger a curiosity for science in young Black girls of St. Louis. And we do workshops where girls can get hands-on experience doing experiments. And there's also a mentorship piece where we put Black women role models who are part of different STEM career pathways in front of the girls so that they can really envision themselves in a career of science. So again, this is a really important conversation to have, and I'm super excited to be here.
Awesome. Okay. And if you're tuning in and you're thinking, who's that speaking? I'm Della. I'm the founder of the Akoma Institute. We are a global learning community organization based in Brazil. We aim to create our first pop-up school for Black, Brazilian, and Afro-Indigenous girls in Sao Paulo at the end of this year. On our way to doing that, we have released zines that we distribute to various community organizations, which center the histories and geographies of Black women radicals. And we will be creating our first online school, Akoma Academy, in April, which we will show a variety of subjects and skills to Black and Afro-Indigenous girls who can register. And this will be available in English, Spanish, and Portuguese, and taught by certified teachers. So I'm really excited and really just over the moon to be with so many inspirational women. What I really want to know next is what brought you into your work. So if there's anybody that feels called to answer this question, please do. I've seen lots of really interesting words on people's websites, mission statements. I've seen the word disrupt a lot, and I've seen the word challenge a lot. And these are some great action verbs which we really need to consider in this type of work. So I'd really like to know what made you want to disrupt and what made you want to challenge.
Hi, I'll get started. So what made me get into STEM and STEM programming? When I grew up in an urban area, I lacked the representation. I lacked the exposure. I did not have the resources. So essentially, I wanted to give girls what I did not have myself. Because once I moved along in my academic career, I realized that there were certain things that I had no idea that existed, believe it or not. That's why it's important to have exposure. I had no idea that, there was a field of engineering. I'm like, I probably would have did that because all I was exposed to, eventually when I got into high school, I had an awesome biology teacher. So I was like, okay, I'll major in biology, right? That's what I was exposed to. However, with STEM, there are so many professions that you can get into. You can be a chemist, you can be an engineer, mechanical engineer, civil engineer. There's other professions, a physical therapist, so on and so forth. So many different professions that you can get into besides we often relate to, oh, I want to be a doctor when you like science or math. There's also so many fields that you can get into. So that's why I started researching and doing a lot of work to see what I can do to give back to those and give them what I did not have myself.
Amazing.
I'll answer the question two ways. So first, I was a Black girl that loved math. I am also from an urban area, and I was in math competitions and such up to about 4th or 5th grade. In high school, I had one really great teacher for 9th and 12th grade, and then I had two uninteresting teachers for 10th and 11th. And I think, kind of like so Renee said, I would have been a math career, but I kind of got disengaged. No one was there. I didn't see myself in the math, so I didn't feel like I belonged, and especially if you don't have teachers or people supporting you. But professionally, I was a math teacher, a math coach, a principal, and a charter school leader, and I've seen girls in grades 6 through 8, 6 through 10 turn away from the math. They know the math, but then they don't do the math because it's not cool or they don't see themselves there. So the purpose is to create the space where they can be their whole self, show up as a both and a Black girl who also loves math or STEM or science and be that whole person. So I've seen it from two different perspectives.
Yeah.
That's incredible. Lots of talk about representation and resources. And I feel like that's really the catalyst for how we can get Black girls to engage in these STEM identities. So thank you so much for sharing, the both of you. So now we're ready to move on to our next question, which is kind of touched on a little bit with both what Renee and Atia were talking about. And that is, well, we really want to focus on the underrepresentation of Black girls in STEM. And we want to ask ourselves why current STEM initiatives don't address the needs of Black girls. So, I mean, there's lots of research on Black girls in STEM. I know a number of panelists are based in the United States, and that seems to be a big hub for where a lot of research on Black girls in STEM comes from. And one thing that kind of, pops up again and again is that research about white girls is often seen to be representative of all girls. And we know that very much to not be the case. Kimberly Crenshaw speaks about intersectionality and really addressing the intersections of one's identity to understand how we can, provide equitable opportunities for each person and each individual. So would anybody like to talk about the current STEM initiatives, maybe the ones that existed when you grew up or did not exist at all, and maybe why Black girls could feel disenfranchised by what is already out there?
I can start with that one. I think as far as like the underrepresentation of Black girls, in STEM goes, is that, it goes without saying, right, that there are definitely social stigmas that are in place. So there's this social stigma about being a girl in science, for one, but then there's also, connotations behind being Black in science too. So Black girls are really challenged with overcoming both of these stigmas. And I feel like when we're coming up, we don't really realize it until we're, further on into our path and we're looking back and we're like, oh, you know what I didn't have? I didn't have someone who looks like me when I was learning these things to help me see myself in the future. And I think that's one of the missing key pieces for current STEM initiatives, is that Black girls really need a visible role model or someone who can help them envision themselves being successful in different professions in STEM. So doing this can also instill like a sense of confidence to where they feel like they can achieve this and that they actually belong in it. So when you have like volunteers coming up, do all of these people look the same? Are they the same race? Are they the same gender as the young people that they're presenting to? I just read this one study on the disposition of Black girls toward taking advanced science courses. And it really all just boiled down to there being like a real need to focus on developing science identity in Black girls to help increase and reinforce their interest in science. So I really think it's about getting people who look like them in front of them so that they can imagine and see themselves being successful in this too. And one way that Black girls do one way that Black girls do STEM does this is by like intentionally putting Black women role models in different professions, getting them involved in the program too, so that the girls can have, something to look forward to and know that, hey, this is something that I can achieve too.
Okay,
yeah.
I'm gonna.
If I can add.
Go ahead.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, if I can, it's true what you're saying about, exposing the girls, the Black girls, especially speaking here in Kenya, in Africa, in Kenya. Think Education was formed by, it's a South Korean, branch. So when they brought the opportunity in Kenya, reaching out to parents who were more, their perception about their perspective, I think, about STEM, engineering, mathematics, was all for boys. So you find that they are focusing mainly on exposing boys into STEM-related programs. So I think for me, interacting with the parents, and trying to change also their mentality, because I think it also starts from home, encouraging the girl child that also you can be able to participate and be among those who are doing kind of like the STEM program. So we've interacted with the girls, our students actually who come to Tinker, and we've seen great outcome from their learning. So, with that, at least we can use that to show other Black girls, African girls in Kenya that actually you are also capable of learning, the principles of STEM, the science, the technology, the engineering and math, the incorporation of it even in coding, and be able to do amazing things with it. So I think it comes from, it starts from home, really, encouraging them at home that you can also try this STEM and see how it goes. So, yeah.
Okay, I also believe that it has a lot to do with the school climate, the teachers, the educators, the counselors, unfortunately, they often, and I don't know, if it's intentional or not, sometimes intentional, sometimes not, if a girl, a Black or brown girl is interested in advanced placement class, they kind of like, oh, are you sure you can do that? And that within itself, it questions them. And then it's kind of like, well, I don't know if I can do that. Also, when they're interested in, okay, perhaps I want to major in a STEM. I want to major in STEM during college. They often, well, perhaps you should do education instead. I don't think you can do that. I don't think you can take all these classes. I personally have dealt with that, but that's something that research has shown. We have to be very careful in our school climate about how we talk to our students, how we encourage them. So we need to encourage our girls. So just with that confidence, just give them that. It makes a big difference. It makes a big difference because they have that support in order to even, try it out, to give it a chance, because most of them, they don't want to give it a chance. They don't even know why. They just don't want to give it a chance. They don't see anyone like them. They don't know if they'll fit right. So it's just good if they just give it a chance. And then once you give it a chance, you're like, well, I actually can do this. It's not as bad as I thought it was going to be. So we have to be very, and I would say some type of training. We have to really focus on training, like professional development training, training for our teachers, for our educators, on how we deal with our students and how we encourage them to enter the STEM field.
Can I just say just one tiny little bit about that? Just one last one. Yeah, so everybody said all your points are so correct. I just want to share one thing where even when I teach, so I normally use Scratch to teach the coding, the STEM. And initially when we were starting, even just the characters that we're using to just to code, most of them they're not color represented. Like most characters are just like a student from where I'm teaching, they won't be able to find a character that will tell their own story. So it's small things like that that would actually they can't see themselves also having that opportunity. So that's another thing. But now is when I've seen something like Scratch now is also including a bit of characters that have Black girls and all that, even for the Black girls. So that's just a tiny thing I want to share. Yeah.
That's incredible. All of your answers were so rich and there was so much food for thought. I was thinking a lot about what Julian was saying about it starting from home, it's starting from beginning, because I guess socialization, primary socialization, is a key element to the paths that we encourage Black girls to go on. Monique W. Morris, she talks a lot about how schools do not advocate for primary socialization that supports Black girlhood and Black femininity in a multitude of forms. And I think as well, what Renee said a few questions back was super interesting, because you were talking about how STEM is often marketed to students as this really binary subject, whereas actually you need STEM if you want to be a sound engineer, if you want to be a musician, right? You need STEM if you want to do lots of different careers. And I guess exposure to, exposure to our girls and saying, you know what, there's so much Blackness in STEM. There's so much of what you've enjoyed, so much Black culture, so much Black history advocates for you being in STEM, for you taking up those spaces. And I really thought as well about a study that was done, again, in the United States, about STEM being kind of, I guess, marketed as this really elite thing. You're encouraged to do STEM if you're in gifted and talented, right? Whereas STEM is such an organic part of learning. It's such an integral part of curriculum. The fact that it's marketed as this really fancy extra thing is just so detrimental, because Black girls in the United States only make up 10% of gifted and talented students. So then within that 10%, who's being encouraged to do STEM? Probably not Black girls in the ways that they should be, because we know that STEM is super gendered as male and heteronormative and white. So I think all of what you said really kind of brought me to a full circle moment on some studies that I've read and some people that have spoken. And I'm really just honored that you guys have that firsthand experience, both as scientists yourselves, but also as activists and as practitioners. So thank you so much. Let's move on to our next question. And again, not really a question, but more something for us to think about and to develop now that we've kind of formed this community among ourselves. And that is, how can STEM engagement be life-changing for Black girls? Okay, so we know Mae Jemison, one of the most famous Black women scientists in the world, she said she always knew she'd go to space, right? She always knew that that was in her future. She always saw developing a STEM identity as a huge part of her reality. So how can we get more Mae Jemisons? How can we get more Black women scientists? And how can we really change their lives in doing so?
Okay, I'll get started. All right, so I think it's important, and I feel like that's why I've been successful, not tooting my own horn, but you have to do STEM programming that's relatable, that they are interested in. So you have to know what's going on, what is so in right now for whatever age group that you're focusing on, because if they don't have that interest, forget about it, right? So whatever is popular for them, you have to try to engage them with that and integrate it with your STEM hands-on programming. I personally feel, and this is kind of probably, I don't know, going into another portion of it, but I also feel like it's important that we engage them when we get them earlier. The problem is a lot of people, and this is why I start earlier. A lot of people, a lot of organizations try to focus on them once they get to middle school. Honestly, that is very difficult, because once they get to middle school, their mind is set that they're saying, I'm horrible in math. I don't do well in science. It's hard to get them back. It's hard to get them back. So our focus needs to be early on, as early as preschool, hence why I have a STEM-based preschool, to get them engaged. Again, we have to make sure whatever age group we're working with, that we do things that's relatable, whatever they're. For example, I had a cosmetic chemistry spring break camp. They were making makeup. They learned about chemistry. They learned about the elements. They learned about bonds, chemical reactions, and they were having a good time. They were like excited, right? Because they're like, what? I can make makeup and I can get paid for it at the same time? Again, girls love makeup. That's another career they can get to. You're a chemist. You're a scientist. So again, you have to do something that is really, relatable for them, that they're interested in.
Yeah, I think, sorry.
You go ahead, sorry.
Yeah, sorry. Okay, so, I like that question a lot, how STEM engagement can be life-changing for the Black girls. For example, I use some of our students who are girls, because we major in all the kids, boys and girls, ages 5 to 15 years old. We have students from 6 years old who are able to apply the 4 C's of 21st century, the collaboration, how to work with one another, because that is the reality, critical thinking. They are working with technology, hence STEM. STEM is the interdisciplinary of the STEM fields. So they are able to think creatively, collaboratively with one another, and also, just application of their creativity into innovation. So I think with such exposure from such a young age, they start thinking, also they start having the mentality of can do. So they understand that all this technology that is already existing, it's a person who was able to bring it to life. I mean, it needs human intervention. So once they start to understand that, whatever field they go into, whatever their interest, they're able to apply technology into it. And so with such a mentality of innovation at a young age, I'm sure, I'm confident that they can be able to create amazing things from such a young age. They have so many ideas. You know, when you meet them in the classroom and you ask them, they have crazy ideas. What we grown-ups maybe call it crazy, but actually, if that is put into the correct path, really, I think they can do amazing things. And having such confidence, you know, to even communicate their ideas. Teacher, I was able to create an animation. This is my animation story, you know, and I created it. Oh, check out my game, you know, because it's an original, right? We just show them you can use coding this way, so apply yourself. So that kind of skill from a young age, we think they carry it along as they grow up, and I think that is really, they will really grow up to be really great people. Yeah.
And just one quick comment on that. I really think that it's all about exposure. Atia, you said that when we first got on here, like it is about exposure. And I think that, you know, for most young people, they may mostly be familiar with more popular occupations, right? Like, you know, a medical doctor or a lawyer. And those are really super important occupations, but we know those aren't the only professions out there, right? Like there are other like alternative approaches and other pathways to go down. And getting girls engaged in STEM can be life-changing because you can uncover like alternative career pathways. And that can better help them develop and look forward to a niche that really suits their interests. So one example was the makeup. So chemistry, one example was, you know, coding. We all into natural hair. So it's like, sis, you know, you could use chemistry to really understand how, you know, hair products help your curl pattern. You like video games, sis, you can be a part of the team that writes the code for, you know, your favorite video game. So it's really about putting it in front of them, you know, which is critical and really helps them shape their outlook on their future and really helps them like find things that they're interested in. So, yeah.
That's gorgeous. Taylor, I completely went over my head about natural hair products. We are so invested in hair products as Black women. How did I miss that? Of course, you need to be a scientist. Yeah, of course, you need to be in STEM if you're going to be part of that reality. Yeah, that's so dope. I love that. Okay, so I guess the last kind of question theme really does mix into lots of what we've said so far. But I really like this question as it's a way to really make this a full circle moment with some of the problems that we need to solve and the futures that we can create. Okay, so February is Black History Month in the United States. I recently met with a practitioner who she does STEAM. So she teaches girls at a rock camp how to sound engineer, and she teaches them the Black history of different electronic music genres like techno, which people do not associate to be Black, but it comes from Detroit. So she's really centering Blackness in her work. And I think that that's a dope initiative. So our question is, how can we provide innovative and sustainable solutions to boost STEM engagement among Black girls? Lots of people spoke about exposure, representation. I'm really interested in hearing from Atia because you look at the mathematics and I feel like even the M in STEM is underrepresented to some degree. So I'd really like to know like how Black girls love math are really trying to get that engagement up as well.
Sure. So I've thought about two things. One, you said something, what problems are we trying to solve? And then what does life look like in 2030? That's the question I've been grappling with my team. We're in a whole new decade and we don't know coding, game designer, all of these things are new careers. So when I talk to the girls, I started with kindergarten through second grade. And it's what do you want your world to be as a Black girl who loves math? And I think centering them in that conversation leads to the innovation and sustaining. Like, so Renee was talking about what do they like? They love Roblox. So they teach me how to play Roblox, and then we're going to create a game for them. I'm not going to create the game because I'm 40, but let's have 6 and 7-year-olds create the game that they want to play. So putting them at the center, I think is going to drive the innovation because Black girl magic is everywhere.
Yeah, I kind of already spoke about it, so that's why I don't want to repeat myself. But I really feel like just the hands-on programming is great for them. Something that they can do. With my organization, I do make sure that I have college interns. I make sure that they're Black and brown girls so they can see them as well. And they're not just any college interns. They are majoring in STEM. They are academically talented. I make sure they apply. I see their transcript. It's important that they see that student that's doing exceptionally well, and it's closer to their age. Me, it's like a lot older for them. I'm like old, basically, ancient. So it's nice to have someone closer to their age that they get to see. Besides someone that's already, what you would say, an engineer, or what about an engineer, major, things like that. So when I did introduce a girl to engineering day, I did that, and we did all these hands-on. They built a wiggle bot, and we had different things depending on the age. And we had an engineering panel, but they were all engineering students at the University of Pennsylvania. Again, I like the younger students. They come in and they contribute. They contribute a lot instead of, and it's great to have people our age, of course, but I like the younger ones giving their input often because they're closer to their age and they can relate a lot more than the adults.
Renee, I love that you have college interns at Esteem Girls, because that means that you're not just empowering the next generation of Black girls, but you're empowering the next generation of STEM activists as well, because they might go off, they might do.
Right. And I learned that actually, again, when you build something, you don't get everything from yourself. I actually learned that from a colleague who actually has another business. And she said, you can have, and literally I will have interns as well as work study students too. They get that experience. They're not going to get that experience anywhere, and they get to use it, and they go on. You write this stellar recommendation. It opens so many doors for them. So not only am I focusing on, girls in grades 3 through 8, I also have the college students as well. So it's an amazing thing. It's an amazing thing.
And I just want to comment on that. I really think that that's great, only because like involving the college students, and I'm a grad student at this point, but being able to participate, with younger students who have interest in STEM, it helps reinforce and helps ground us who are in it too, because sometimes things can get a little busy and we sometimes forget why am I studying all this math again? It's getting a little difficult, but being able to engage with the youth and getting kids excited about science and really, it's really grounding and really helps remind, students of I'm doing this because there are also people coming up behind me too. And maybe me being here will make it easier for the next batch of scientists or something. So I just want to say shout out to you, because that's a really important feature to have also.
And you're a plant biologist, right, Taylor? So that's next level representation. You know what I mean? Again, what we were talking about, that multitude of STEM, that's dope. And I'm loving the plants in your background as well. So now I want to kind of probe the Tinker Education girls. And I want to know a little bit about that connection you have with Korea and how you're kind of implementing that that globalization part of STEM in your organization, because I think that's so interesting and I think that that's so powerful.
Okay. Mercy, I'll go first. Actually, our CEO is South Korean. He came to Kenya in 2016, and he's very passionate about education. So, in his tour in Kenya, he just inquired about, the curriculums that are there. Currently, there's IGCSE, there's the Kenyan curriculum itself as well. And when he saw, it is stereotype, how they are taught, one way of doing things. So seeing that, and him coming, of course, from South Korea, he has an R&D team back there, which does research of STEM education globally, And so, as you know, it's practiced by the kids in Asia, in the UK, in the US as well. And so he identified a need for STEM education in the Kenyan children. He saw a gap, I guess, and so he opened the Tinker STEM education. And as you can see, it accommodates for kids actually from the very young age, going onwards to 16, where by 16 they have identified their interests. But basically, the R&D team does the research and then curates content, which is student-centered, and once the content is ready, of course, they do training for the Kenyan teachers. So either the teachers go to South Korea for training, because STEM education, quite honestly, it's new. It's a new thing. And so especially here in Kenya, here in Africa. So even us, we're trying to reach out to as many parents as we can, tell them, hey guys, there's a new way of learning, whereby it doesn't have to be study hard, pass your exams so that you can go to high school, to college, so that you can have a great future. That is the thinking of everyone. But actually, with STEM, seeing technology, how it's applied in any field, really, even law, in the hospitals, you see technology, what is doing there. And so we just want to, even a small thing as fashion, 3D printing, designs, you can design using technology. And so curating content even for the girls to see like, actually I can design someone online, I can print out something, patterns using coding, and I can print them on a bag or on a piece of cloth. So them seeing that they can be successful in a different way rather than passing the exams at school and such, that actually and really makes me really love what I do, because it gives hope, and it's actually just applying creativity. So once our HQ, and we are also part of the content research, so that we can be able to learn through it. Mercy here as the teacher also does her research on STEM and how it can apply for Kenyan kids, right? And then we compare notes with our HQ, we curate the curriculum, the content, and we give it to our kids. And so we teach it here locally. It's managed locally as well in Kenya, only that the design and development is back in South Korea. But we do, of course, always exchange of ideas. How is it going with the kids? Our HQ understand the kids. They come to Kenya, they interact with the kids so that we can keep on challenging them. What is next for so-and-so? So-and-so has studied to this level. How can we challenge her more? It is skill-based learning, STEM education. It is not something that you can cram, to pass. So it's based on the skill that they learn. So it has really, coming to Kenya, our CEO coming to Kenya has really changed already some of the perspective of even our parents, our community. And so we hope, of course, to reach out to as many, even to schools, and tell them this can be an after-school program. Let them learn. School is very important. Go to school Monday to Friday. On Saturdays or after school, come to the STEM club. Try to tinker, to interact with different things, technology, see how you can apply it in different areas. So that is how we work with our HQ. Of course, they support us a lot financially. So we can be able to give the program to the kids comfortably at the moment without any issues here and there. Yeah.
Wow, that's so interesting. And that's sustainability, right? Thinking of new ways to learn. Because, this pandemic has presented educators around the world with that challenge. So really rethinking that landscape of education that applies to STEM as well. So that's really interesting, Julian. Okay, ladies, so that brings us to the end of our questions. Before we go, please do a self-plug. Do you have a GoFundMe? Do you have an Instagram, Twitter account you want people to follow? Do you have something exciting that people can sign up to now? And yeah, take it away.
Sorry, if I can start. Of course, for us, it's just Tinker Education. You know, we're on Twitter, we're on Instagram, we're at Tia Founders, I think on Facebook as well, just as Tinker Education. And we have very interesting blogs on our Tinker EDU website. On the blog page, you can see very interactive stories about the kids, what they're actually doing in the classroom. We have our girls there, you know, Kenyan girls who are presenting to the people outside what they have created using STEM education. So you can check them out, very interesting blogs there. And also, we're doing internal competitions at the moment, but this whole conversation has got me thinking, you know, we can organize something where our kids can be exposed internationally, you know, have a Tia girls, you know, competing with Tinker kids, just to, you know, in a fun way, right? Because they're also kids. So we don't want to give them the pressure of STEM, you know, have fun with it. And so interacting with globally would be an amazing opportunity, quite honestly. And we are open. We've already hosted a competition internally, and we are thinking of keep doing it so that they gain the confidence. But imagine what it can do if they practice that with kids outside their comfort zone, outside Kenya. So we are free for the talks. Yeah, thank you.
Okay, I guess I'll go next. Maybe we'll go by the squares the way they're lined up. All right, so guys, you can visit our website, www.esteemgirls.org. That's ESTEEM, just like the name, GIRLS.org. Instagram, Esteem Girls, the same name. Twitter, Esteem Girls.org. And Facebook, Esteem Girls. We have a lot going on. So absolutely. So locally, you can definitely enroll in our STEM summer camp. We are doing it, but we are practicing our COVID safety. We'll make sure that's in place, but we have a full-time STEM summer camp. We have Science Saturday programming. We have tutoring virtually in home. We do that. We offer that as well. For those that are not local, we have a monthly subscription box called our lab box. So you can do experiments from absolutely anywhere. You can find out more about that on esteemgirls.org. We also have a lab book. I am author and I wrote the book, Look What I Can Be. Lab book is a 100-page workbook for girls, and it's a whole bunch of experiments. In there, some girl empowerment quotes and activities, as well as the book, Look What I Can Be. Again, you can order that from anywhere around the world. And that's also available on our website, esteemgirls.org. Thank you.
I think I'm next on the panel. So Black Girls Love Math, we have a website, www.blackgirlslovemath.org. We are on Instagram, Black Girls Love Math. Our Facebook page is Black Girls Love Math. Our Twitter handle is BGLM416, just to play on some numbers there. And we are on Amazon Smile. So if you can't donate money, you can add us as your featured charity. And when you spend, we get a percentage of that. We also accept PayPal donations. And we have swag for sale. I don't know if you can see my pen, but we have shirts and such for sale. And we are currently doing a K-2 pilot and a kindergarten through second grade, so 5 through 8-year-olds. And then we're doing a middle school pilot. And then in the summer, we can reach out for other opportunities such as a summer camp and things like that. That'll happen later this year. So once you go to the website, you can sign up for updates and you will get our bi-monthly newsletter.
Okay, but I think because we Tinker Education, you can still find me with Tinker Education. Yes, you can find all the work there.
And if you would like to learn more about Black girls do STEM, you can follow us on social media. That's on Facebook, Twitter, and IG at BGDSTEM. And also just want to put in a plug. We ask that you volunteer and partner and donate to really help us do the work. Right now, we're asking that if you can, try to be a hashtag doer and make a recurring monthly donation of just $40 to help keeping our organization going. And this will sponsor one girl for the entire year and really support the capacity building efforts. So if you want to know more about that, you can also visit bgdstem.com for more info.
That's awesome. Yeah, I was checking out that Be a Doer campaign. It's dope. I love it. Okay, so I will do my shameless self-plug at the end. So Instagram is the Pop-Up School. There you can find all of our education resources, which are available in English, Spanish, and Portuguese. You'll also see the links to our Patreon, where you can have access to our zines. We are going to continue to create zines. So becoming a patron means that you'll get exclusive access to the zines in all languages. And if you're an educator, that would be a great resource for you. We are going to advertise our spring school on our Instagram. Applications will open up in March. And yeah, I've really enjoyed our conversation today, ladies. I think that some really powerful connections are going to be made. I'm really excited to see how all of your organizations grow and the work that you do. And I'm wishing every single person here all the best. And thank you so much for joining us on this panel today.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That was
Thank you.
fun.
Thank you so
And thanks
much.
to all of our viewers for tuning in. I'm going to assume that there are no questions. So I guess that's us over and out. Black Girls in STEM, Shattering Stereotypes. Let's all stay connected and have a great Sunday evening.
You too.